Hello everybody, my name is Jacob Toronto of ChasingCinema.com. It has been a long, exhausting day for day 2 at CinemaCon Las Vegas 2015. The really cool part about today, though, was that I didn't spend my whole day at Caesar's Palace where CinemaCon is being held. I actually spent a major fraction at the school I write for, and that is UNLV. That's right, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I am the UNLV Rebel Yell A&E senior staff writer. And I had a wonderful opportunity with the filmmakers from Pixar that worked on Up, Monsters, Inc., and the up-and-coming film Inside Out. I did an interview with these men, who are Pete Docter, Ronnie Del Carmen, and Jonas Rivera. I always want to say Riviera because I'm in Vegas. Well, I'm always in Vegas, but you know what I mean. It's just embedded in my head. And it was a really cool experience. The interview is posted. You can actually watch that. That's actually going to be separate from this video, and where I'm going to recap their actual presentation. Because from what I hear, it's going to be very similar to what they're actually doing tomorrow in day 3 of CinemaCon. And going over that, sorry, I didn't mean to shake the camera. I have this on an armrest. So the majority of the presentation kind of really talked about why Inside Out is one of the, what they said, one of the most difficult films they've ever worked on, and about the repetitive process it took them to go from Inside Out to go from films like Monsters, Inc. and some of them worked on one or two of these guys worked on Toy Story. Up, they've done so much, and the thing with Inside Out is that it's all imaginary. There isn't an established world really, and it was all being created. And there was a lot of talk about, how do we create this world? What should this world look like? What do these emotions look like? If you don't know what Inside Out is about, Inside Out follows a young girl who is growing up, like most people do. And, well, like everyone does. And it actually explores her emotions inside of her mind. Now, Pete Docter made it pretty apparent that it's not in her brain that this is happening, it's in her mind, which technically in this film would be a separate area. We have anger, played by Lewis Black. We have disgust. We have sadness. We have fear, played by Bill Hader. And then we have joy, played by Amy Poehler. So we pretty much have this really strong cast, and but how do we bring these emotions to life? Do they look like creatures? Do they look like human beings? What do they look like? And that was a major part of the presentation. Also, it really gave everyone a backstory of Pete Docter and Ronnie Del Carmen and Jonas Rivera, and how Jonas Rivera is pretty much the first and only intern that Pixar's ever really taken on. He's been there ever since. Pete Docter was with, John Lasseter in the very, very beginning of Pixar. Carmen came on doing art direction and stuff like that, and really got a sense of where these guys came from and why In and Out is so important. I've also learned a few other really interesting things that, Ellie from Up is actually based off Pete. I just want to call him Peter because his name's Doctor, so I'm wasn't ready to say that ER. Pete Docter's daughter, who actually is named Ellie. Now, Pete Docter also mentioned that though Ellie was based off of his daughter, probably more physically, and a little bit how she acts the younger version, that there was an age in her time. There's a time in her age where she started growing up and getting less active and extroverted like a young child does, and became a little more quiet and more of a recluse. And he said that kind of saddened him to see her go through those emotions and change that we all do. And he said that was a major inspiration for him to do this film. We were shown about 7 minutes of the film. Actually, the first 7 minutes of the film, and then probably an additional 4 minutes, maybe 5. So we actually saw about a good chunk to enter from, I'd say, 13 minutes of the movie. And I really thought it'd be difficult for the guys who worked on Up to up their game, no pun intended. But watching this, I laughed and I already got emotional. There's already emotion. Now, granted, I don't think it's going to explore from what I saw at least, it doesn't explore, the death of a spouse and not being able to have a child in the case of Up. But it really kind of looks at growing up, which, Peter Pan did way back when, and still does. Peter Pan, growing up, Peter Pan is a name that always kind of pops in the head, but we've always looked at growing up as more of a physical thing. And granted, I mean, as far as film, we always see people growing up, they get older, and we saw Andy get old in the Disney Pixar world. But we never really explore the emotions people go through, the change. We see the transformation happen, but never actually through the entire process, which really makes me interested in Inside Out, from what I've seen so far. We saw some of the many sculptures and images that were drawn for this film. We saw some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that was really cool. Bill Hader and Louis Black, who played Anger. There's a great scene. There was a great thing where they said, when we're developing a character, we put an actor's voice reel behind it just to get an idea. And they have him doing one of his jokes that he did on not the Tonight Show. I'm sorry, the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and just hilarious. It was just a really cool experience. It was just like, these guys are part of one of the most successful film companies of all time. Now, when you say that, you say, what? Pixar has the most, probably, if not the, one of, but if not the most successful runs, because every movie they do, it's financially successful and more or less critically successful. The one film that comes to mind that I didn't really care for was Cars 2, but all these movies made money. All these movies have pretty done well. I mean, maybe one out of the, I think now they're on 13, 14 combined. I mean, it's from this count from the beginning with Toy Story 1. I mean, it's just been nothing but successful. So overall, the presentation was awesome. I really want to thank Pixar. I want to thank Lindsay Durr, and I want to thank Pete Docter, Ronnie Del Carmen, and of course Jonas Rivera, not Riviera, for coming out and talking to all these students in the film department and really kind of sharing their knowledge and everything that they've gained working in the business. For some of them started working in 1994, so it's 20 years, 21 years, and I believe one of them started working in 2000, so 15 plus years of knowledge, and even prior to that, and giving that to us and really sharing it with us, and that was real special. So I thank Pixar for that. I thank those men for that. I thank Lindsay Durr for that, and of course UNLV for giving me the opportunity to sit down and talk with them. Now watch the video and interview with those three gentlemen, which is also available on our YouTube page. Hit subscribe so you're constantly getting updated on the things that are going on, especially at CinemaCon this week. Videos are coming out kind of late, obviously. I think it's 12 o'clock already, and I'm just getting to update my stuff for today because it's been such a rough, I went CinemaCon to UNLV to CinemaCon, and it's been event after event. It's just been real crazy, so I'm doing my best to keep you guys updated. Go check that out. Please like this video, show your support, comment, let me know what you think about Inside Out. Let me know if you're excited, what you think. How'd you enjoy Up? How'd you enjoy Monsters, Inc.? Let's get this conversation going. Let's do some talking. Again, Inside Out hits theaters June 19th. Make sure to go see it because I promise you it's going to be something extraordinary. I cannot wait to see it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacob Toronto. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all my social media stuff is down there, as well as Chasing Cinemas in the description box. Thank you for tuning in. Please continue chasing cinema.